The minority in Parliament is kicking against aspects of the Public Universities Bill prepared by the Ministry of Education. The bill is aimed at legislating the establishment and management of public universities in the country.
But according to the minority, some specific clauses in the bill will put control of the universities in the hands of government, which is an attack on academic freedom. There's more in the following report.
The minority in Parliament is of the view that the bill is inimical to the growth of public universities. The draft bill seeks to regulate the establishment and management of public universities. But even before the bill is officially laid in Parliament, some clauses have attracted criticisms in the eyes of the public. Specifically, Clause 3 of the bill, which deals with the composition of the Governing Council. Per the clause, the Governing Council of the various universities is to be made up of 9 representatives, with about 6 of the members appointed by the President. Representation by interest groups like student unions and the National Council for Tertiary Education will, however, be on a rotational basis. The President will also be clothed with the powers to dissolve and reconstitute the councils when the need be. A situation the ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Peter Nochu, believes is an affront to academic freedom.
The bill in its form, if it is allowed to pass, is going to have a very telling effect on academic freedom of the universities, because the bill is attempting to take away the autonomy of the universities.
Now, the University of Education, Winneba, reopened for students today. After more than 3 weeks of closure, the university was shut down following a violent protest by students triggered by the dismissal of some 8 lecturers. 3 of the affected lecturers, Dr. Emmanuel Osei-Sapong, Dr. Frimpong Kwekuduku and Professor Ephraim Avianso, have since been reinstated. City News' Central Regional Correspondent Calvis Tete reports.
At 7 a.m. this morning, students began arriving on campus. Majority of them came with their luggage and other learning materials in preparation for the academic work. Although teaching and learning did not officially start today, most of the students were in the lecture halls studying. Some were happy that school had reopened, but called on authorities to resolve all issues.
Expecting that everything should be settled and then with the students, I don't think we're going to do that again, because many of us didn't wish for this to happen. And so we are praying, and then with due respect, we are going to do what is expected of us as students.
Dr. Emmanuel Osei-Sapong, one of the lecturers who was recalled after his dismissal, said he is yet to receive an official communication to that effect.
If after 24 hours I've not received a letter, well, I think I will go to my head of department first and inform him that through the university website, I was reinstated. The statement is there for everybody to see, but officially I have not received any letter from the university management. So what do I do? So I think I'll take it from there. I will follow the correct channel of communication.
On the day of reopening, members of the academic board, together with the school authorities, met to discuss the way forward. Alas Ambawa, a lecturer, was part of the meeting.
And so today, the academic board met, and we had a fruitful discussion. We have a new calendar now.
Acting SRC Vice President Akudugi Isaka called on his colleagues to work to ensure that happenings of last month are not repeated.
All students to go about their academic work with peace and with all the seriousness and the mind set that is deserved for academic work. No student will be victim.
City News' checks at most of the major storm drains in Accra revealed heavy pollution largely responsible for the flooding. Most parts of the capital were submerged after a 30-minute downpour, resulting in the loss of 4 lives and property.
A visit to some areas, specifically at Accra, Sahara, Mamprobi and Dansoman, saw some residents cleaning and counting their losses. City News' Kojo Ajiman has more in this report.
Scenes like these welcome you at Adabraka, Sahara. These images show what is left of the floods. Adabraka Sahara lies on the banks of the Odo River, one of Accra's biggest storm drains. But anytime it rains, residents bear the brunt.
Drain up to the Kole. If they dredge this drain and they didn't do anything at the Kole, I don't think they are doing anything. Because if the water flows from this place to the Kole, it hits and comes back.
Every other year, when the rains set in, they have to deal with the devastating effect once the rains stop. The Member of Parliament for the area is not happy about what her constituents go through during these times. She feels city authorities are not doing the needful.
And now we need to walk the talk. Enough talking and doing what needs to be done. What's going on here? If this is the first big rain we've had this year, and already we've had such devastation, I dread to think what it's going to be like when the rains actually start to come in.
But for the timely intervention of a nurse and some staff at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, a patient would have strangled a medical officer to death. The staff broke the locks of the doors to access the consulting room, only to find that the doctor was being strangled by the patient.
The recent case has intensified calls by staff on government to pay attention to the security aspects of the hospital. Zoe Abubedu has details in this report.
Last Friday could have been the last time one of the doctors at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital would have been alive if not for the swift intervention of a nurse and some staff. It was a normal Friday for him until the unfortunate happened. An hour before the attack, he had attended to a patient of Chadian nationality. He recommended the patient be admitted so he could be properly observed and treated. The nurse, who was assisting the doctor in the consulting room, recounts moments leading to the attack.
The patient had already been seen, I think, 30 minutes to 1 hour ago. But they were supposed to pay 400 cedis for the 10 or 4 days. So their money wasn't ready. So they were asked to wait outside. Whilst the doctor also went to the lab to check something. So the doctor wasn't around. So I was just sitting here. And then the patient just barged in, picked his medication, which was on my table, and then started staring at me. So I became scared.
Health workers across the board have to be given the needed motivation to work. But for health workers dealing with mentally ill patients, it is obvious that extra care and attention be given to ensure their safety. This is lacking, and the director of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Pinaman Apel, says some of the staff have threatened to resign because it appears their safety is not being prioritized.
My prescribers are threatening to stop work because they cannot see themselves working in these unsafe environments.